Welcome back to the Independents. Forget the Supreme Court and hysterical senators. The biggest bomb to drop in the gun debate turned the whole thing on its head. 3D printed guns. Welcome to Cody Wilson's Warped World.
Cody Wilson founded a company called Defense Distributed. He's best known for coming up with the designs for guns made with plastic parts that can be downloaded from the internet and printed with a 3D printer. He made the idea of a 3D printed gun a reality by working day and night in his tiny workshop in Texas. I went to meet Cody and try out some of these guns. I also wanted to know what would motivate someone to show people how to create firearms free from any government oversight or regulation.
I shot a gun with 3D parts.
This is a way of communicating that something else is on the horizon enabled by these digital technologies. Distributed, decentralized, and I think ultimately kind of ennobling and empowering of the individual. This magazine is cheap to make, anyone can make it, and we've put hundreds of thousands into the internet, which will always be there. This is now with us forever.
In 2013, Cody published the blueprint for the first fully 3D printable handgun. He called it the Liberator. The plans were downloaded 100,000 times in 2 days. The State Department eventually ordered Cody to take the plans down. I tried to fire the Liberator several times.
3, 2, 1.
But it didn't work. Later, we tried shooting an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle with some 3D printed parts. That one sure as hell worked. This is significant because many politicians want to ban what they call high-capacity magazines.
Politicians who want to ban semi-automatic rifles, what are they most upset about?
They're really scared about the fact that this has military application. It can shoot up to 30 rounds in a relatively short order. It's serviceable. It's like a military rifle.
As this gun proves, whether banned or not, it's possible just to make these clips on a computer.
What was the series of events that led you to this?
I'd like to say it was Ben Dinio and I really looking for a project that would be able to teach both a practical anarchy and also be a way of kind of helping to create this world we imagine, which is a world past these strictures and these institutions of control. The guns seemed to be like the most potent symbolic device possible, and we also knew or thought that we could make it happen.
It's scary to think that there would be guys masquerading as a little cross team, putting these things together in the bathroom of a 757.
I just think it's so unrealistic in the actual underworld. I mean, there's so much access to so many better guns. The media has seized upon the fact that, well, it's undetectable by metal detectors. Yeah. Well, this is no longer even the security standard in the great police state that is the United States. There's this idea that, well, you know, it's the perfect terrorist weapon. Again, this just isn't accurate.
It's not the people having guns that scare me. It's the people themselves.
That's I think, an essential issue, right? Because in the end, this is the conversation that happens on the Hill. Well, yes, we have the noble American people, but really they can't be trusted in the end to kind of govern their own affairs. Self-representation and self-government, this is not something for the American people.
No, I believe in that, and I want to believe in that.
I
want you to take me over the goal line because I don't feel I'm quite there
I'm not going to take you there, right? I'm not there for that. I'm your full-service provocateur, right? Here's the printed gun, bitches. You know what I'm saying? That's what I represent. Here it is. What are you going to do about it?
I think there are a lot of libertarians who bristle at the notion of being called extremists.
I really don't think that in a practical sense we are extreme. What does that mean? Beyond the limit. No, we're at the limit. I mean, literally, like we're carrying the limit forward. This is the front line of a certain form of manufacture right now. Silly, maybe, impractical, but it's not beyond the limit. This is to imply that there's some kind of, it's unacceptable, it's not really achievable. No, it's here. You know, we're not extreme, like we're there. We're kind of on the cutting edge.
Wow. All right, Damon Root is back. So, Damon, how does 3D printing change the gun debate?
Well, it's your classic example of technology getting beyond regulation, getting beyond the state of the law. So it changes the debate in many different ways. But I think one of the biggest is simply that when we talk about, it's going to spur the government to action. Let's talk about maybe one of the ways
it already has. I mean, Chuck Schumer.
Right.
Cody Wilson had hardly pressed enter when Chuck Schumer was up talking about banning all sorts of 3D printed material.
Right. So we're going to see, I think, a lot of catch-up legislation trying to outthink this technology. And of course, technology works, gets ahead of these laws. It goes forward. So, but the idea, I think calling it the gun the Liberator and talking about this as sort of practical applied anarchy is To me, it's a little ambitious sounding because I think that, lawmakers are not going to say, history teaches us anything. Lawmakers are not going to say, oh, well, the technologies are getting out of hand. Let's just back off. We're going to see a lot of government intervention, a lot of, probably, completely unsuccessful attempts to regulate it.
Does he make it more of a hassle for
Cody
gun
Wilson?
owners? Yeah.
I was, I've heard about this interview for a while, and I was trying to decide who to root for. I think I'm rooting for Cody over Kennedy here. He makes a
fighting.
He makes a point of that. It's all about provocation. He's trying to make people think about these issues and to create a problem that you have to deal with and wrestle with in your own heart, which is an interesting it's a classic provocation, like imagining that everybody out there has these things that are outside the entire system. It's a great anarchic stunt. I think that there will be an obvious backlash, and he had to shut his whatever these technology things are within a week of it going up. But once it was out there, that we can't retrieve it, and it mirrors a whole lot of other things that happen outside the gun debate, where people like Bitcoin and other things, where people are creating their own realities, and the government really is kind of powerless to deal with it, and will always be playing this game of catch-up.
But the risk is not so much for gun owners in this particular case. It is the 3D printing technology that is potentially at jeopardy, because that's what the legislators are going to go after.
And 3D printers do whatever they can to distance themselves from these questions, from this debate, which makes it all the more interesting.
Yeah,
and no easy answer.
And they're going to have a difficult time dealing with regulations themselves, but it's going to be hard for government to catch up to them.
All right, very good.